Welcome back to a very basic space program, the series where I am playing in Kerbal 1.10, and we have the latest RP-1 and RO available to us, and we're using whatever we can get hold of. So, last episode we launched a craft into a suborbital flight and just made the distance required. That was the Javelin G004. And we also launched our space plane for the first time and recovered that after, shall we say, an engine problem. So what are we going to do in this one? Well, we're going to do another rocket plane contract, and we're going to put something else into suborbit, but we'll have to look about some changes, I think. So let's get going. Right, so we're going to start off in mission control, and the first thing that I have done is I've actually taken this experimental rocket plane. That requires that we get to over 320 meters per second, and we go over 10 kilometers. We've actually got to go up to 12.5 kilometers with our rocket plane to complete it. We don't get a vast amount of money for this, or funds, but first of all, it's got a timer, right? So we want to get this done as quickly as possible so the next set of timer can start. But also, that's basically almost free because we're spending very little on this plane now that we've built it. I'm also looking over here, and we've got a choice of two in my mind. We could go X-plane supersonic. I don't think our plane can actually hold that speed at that range at the moment. I don't think we've got the control ability, but we'll think about that one. It's not a great one to take because you could lose quite a bit of funds if we don't manage it. But we could go for these altitude sounding rockets, things like that, or we could just continue on with the film return and biological experiments. We know the film return last time was on the limit, and I think going up to 200 kilometers and 600 kilometers downrange is out of our range right now. We know that rocket cannot do it, so we're going to have to wait for an upgrade to do that, which leaves us with biological experiment, 75 units of payload and 120 kilometers. Well, we have our little compartments with, I think it's about 30 in, so we'll put 3 of those on just for overkill. 3 of those sounding payload units we've already got, we'll stick those on there. We don't need to retool or anything, and they should be cheap, and we should be able to get to that height. And what we'll do is we'll stick a film return canister on it as well. And I'm not going to show you that the build, I'm just going to do it and we can watch us do it. So we'll accept that, and now we've got to think, right, what's going to happen first? Well, I have actually already started building this craft. I knew that contract was there. So this is the Javelin 1C. The change to it is the fins. We've actually replaced the fins that were the starting fins with the new supersonic ones. So that should help the burning off that I was scared of with those. And all I've done is actually take, as I said, 3 of those sounding payloads that we had on one of our previous craft and just stuck 3 of them on the top of the standard J004. So that should be good. We've also got to wait for the Coniston to come back. We're going to rush that, and then I will get back to you. So the Coniston is back, it's ready for everything, but first I want to actually check it's okay. So we're going to click on there, I'm going to click edit, and we also have some science to spend, but I'm not in a hurry to spend it because, well, it's not going to get researched for a while, so not a big rush. So we're just going into the spaceplane hangar, and as always it takes an age to load up. What you can actually just reset the craft. You can do a fuel and refill, which helps with the science experiments. But one thing we hadn't done last time, and I've actually I can show you this. We actually could select at the bottom here, configure crew science. You can see you can configure the crew science. Now, I could do that now, refill this and go. However, the other thing you can do is, instead of just fiddling around making sure the fuel tanks are full, because these are all empty now, you can actually just load up the original model. There we go. You'll see build time is almost not changed. There's a tiny little bit of editing there, okay? So it's going to take 50 minutes to sort it. That is because this one I've already gone in and actually configured the science. So there we go. That's the difference. We've actually added that in. I've put in the supersonic flight. There are 2 you can go for. You can go for Mach 2 flight, you can go for supersonic flight. We're going to go supersonic to start with. It's going to take 25 minutes, so we can just keep firing off the missions until we achieve that. All it requires is an altitude over 10 kilometers, and that we actually do that we're doing a minimum speed of 300. If we go for the Mach 2, what happens is that goes up to 600 meters per second, which we should be able to achieve in this when it's got both engines, or if we upgrade the engines or anything like that. So we've got that. That's going to be 40 minutes, but we're going to work on the supersonic flight first of all. Get that out of the way. That's free science for us while we're doing missions. And what we want to do is make sure it's actually turned on. There we go. It's all ready. Everything looks good. So we can save those edits. Now, because we've edited the craft, it is at the bottom. It's always going to be at the bottom of our list. So we want to just pop that up using the little arrow thing. Wait a little while. There we go. And now we're going to prep it for air launch. That's going to cost us 500 funds. So basically, just doing that, we're actually going to make all of those funds, with that huge chunk of funds back. It's a nice way of making some cash. So we've got 11 days to do that. While that's happening though, do we want to spend some of this, because we've got quite a bit left of money. So I think we're going to do a couple of upgrades. We're going to do a couple of upgrades. We're going to put one into R&D, and oh, that's a nice big jump, isn't it? And I'm going to put one into the VAB. I know I shouldn't put so much in the VAB, but it's just very slow. So we're on 7 VAB, 5 R&D. Total science is 61. I've got a total 12 points. So I now need to just keep pushing that. That's what we're going to need to. What that does mean is that our tech is now going to be quicker. We've got supersonic flight there because I want the higher cockpit available to us, so we can actually send our crew a little bit higher in the atmosphere. And we've got our 60-ton pad under construction. What else have we got? After that, we've got material science. That's going to be important. It's one of our stepping stones to a lot of these better engines that we're going to need for going further. So I think we're going to warp forward. We're going to launch this craft. Well, it is sort of midday at the Cape, and we're going to start our first mission properly now. We're a few minutes into the episode already. We haven't launched anything yet. So we're going to air launch the Coniston 1A. Let's have a look. We don't want to be at 1,000 kilometers away. We're going to be, let's make it 200 kilometers away. Altitude is fine, velocity is fine, so we're going to launch that. And our crew for today will be Fred. We don't want Fred. Do we want Fred? We have lost one of our pilots. Oh, she's on a break. She's having a holiday. Who do we want? Who's the most courageous? Carl Hall is the most courageous. Right, so here we are. We're waiting on our countdown. We'll just put our autopilot on, and we'll get ready to go. Now, Carl is obviously a little nervous, but we'll see how that goes. So we've got engine power to max. Turn the engines on. Roaring up in the air. And we need to just start pulling our craft up a little bit because we need to get to 10. So let's have a look. How are we doing, Carl? We do not have much in the way of upward pull, which is concerning. I think we have a problem with our control surfaces. They are all moving at once. This is, oh dear, this saved version, this is one of the problems you can have. We actually didn't save the correct flaps and wing settings. Oh dear. Right, well, let's just hope that we can recover this safely, because this could be a problem. We're getting up in speed. Right, I'm going to throttle down these engines just a smidgen. There we go, just hold it. Now, let's have a look. Where's our mission? We don't need that one. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. Well, we could go for 600. This cockpit should be able to do 600, I'm guessing. Don't want that. Is there anything else? Don't want that. Don't want the biological sample. Right, so these are the two we're basically looking at. And we're just going to climb a bit now. Now, I believe there is a limit on this cockpit of about 30 kilometers, so we don't want to go that high. We're just going to skirt the sort of 12 kilometer range, which would be nice, and then we'll level out and just see what speed we can actually get. We've got another minute and a half on these engines, so we should be easy to get up there. Right, we've got a new altitude record of 10 kilometers. That's our first time over 10. We've now broken the requirement of 320 between there, so we now need to just peak at 12.5 kilometers and then return home. Let's check our science situation. That is ticking off. We can get up to 15 science for doing that, so if we can keep doing these missions, we can just build up the science on it, which is nice. It's a free science. Right, we are now over the limit, so there we go, that's completed. So we can now just level out and just hold it, and what we can actually do is just throttle this engine down a bit. I don't need to be going that fast. Put the nose up a little bit. There we go. Just hold it. because as long as we're above 10 we're okay. So there we go, just hold that there. We're going to go 500. We could push for 600. I'm not in a big push mood. We'll pull this down just a little bit more. What's our throttle doing? That's okay. Oh, we're losing a bit of speed now, so we're just going to hold it because we actually want to hold as long as possible to get as much of this science as possible. I really like to get as much as possible. I'm just burning those engines out and flying through the air with ease. I don't know where we are at the moment. I could actually probably check. So note to self, fix the wings and flaps and everything. So that's interesting. We need to go back and correct that from what I did last time. So note to self, do that. If you're following along, remember to do that. All right, here we go. How much more fuel? We've got loads of fuel. Actually, looking at this, because we're burning slowly, we're actually getting quite a nice use of our fuel, which is good. So what we could do is actually just angle up just a smidgen, and it'll give us more glide time potentially. So let's just angle up just a smidgen, get us so that we're still going up. Liquid oxygen reserves our loads because the engines are about to cut out. Okay, can we have a look? We've got all this stuff going on. Okay, yeah, those tanks are running low. We'll see which is going to cut out first. We can also check on our data for the engines. Don't like this bottom bit on. So we're getting up a load of data right now. It's been on for 3 minutes, and mean time between failures is dropping. So we're going to have a failure at some point very soon, I think. We might be exceeding the actual limit that we're on for this. All right. So this has been a long burn. It's been really good, actually. This is going a lot better than I was expecting, particularly with the control surface issues, shall we say. Got a load of electricity, so we should be alright with that. Our engines are about to go out, I think. We don't want to save any of that fuel. We're going to go as light as possible. Okay, about to go any second. And there we go. Right. We are without power now, so we are going to basically be coming back down. We're going to try and just glide it in as easily as possible. And what I'm going to do is actually speed this up now, because we're just going to be going on. Now, the good thing is we didn't build up too much speed. That would be the concern for me. Anyway, we need to maintain some of that speed because of the task we have. We've got to stay above 300. So we're going to pop that back down. We need to stay above 300 and above 10. So I think this is going to be okay right now. We may want to nose down a little bit. I don't know. I think maybe pull up a little bit as well. There we go. Just hold it. Every second is free science is what I've got going on there. So we've got almost 5 minutes of science out of this, which is nice. And I think we're going to I think we might break the 5 minutes of science. No, maybe not. But anyway, we've got a big chunk of that already done. 2 point something science. That's good. That might take us over the next boundary for an upgrade point, which would be brilliant. And now we're down, so we might as well head down. So there is the cape, I believe. How wonderful. So we can just go down now. Let's head down as quickly as possible to a reasonable altitude. We can gain a bit of speed. We're actually gaining speed at the lower altitude than we require. There we go. So what have we learned from flight number 2? Coniston 2, or not, Coniston 1A. I don't know, I should probably get rid of the A because I don't feel that we're going to have a B version. So maybe it should just be this is the Coniston 1 and any modifications become the 2. Tell me down below, comment, what do you think? How would you name your craft, This is flight 2. And it has gone, I think, swimmingly, apart from the obvious issues with control surfaces and so forth. So we're just going to come through the atmosphere. And we're going to speed this up a little bit. I don't need to run at normal speed all the way there. I could do a speedy up bit for you, in fact. I'll just do that. Ooh, that was a vicious one. Note to self, don't do that. Yeah. And we're going to just pull up and try and get a bit more speed. We've actually killed our speed well off the coast, and I don't want to land this thing in the water, actually. Oh dear. All right. Well, we're approaching the ground, so that's nice. Let's speed up a bit. See if we can get over. I just want to land it on that ground, that solid ground. Water and water physics are something that terrifies me, actually. From the old days of KSP, where the stock physics on the water was an absolute nightmare. Now it's quite good, actually, in stock KSP. You can actually land in water without the imminent view of death. Whereas RP-1, realistic progression, realism overhaul, that water physics will potentially kill you. and if nothing else, it will, particularly for an empty craft like this, it's not got a lot of sort of mass to it, and it's very sort of low density now. It will throw you around until your pilot dies. So you know, be aware of that. And okay, we're coming in over. Where are we? So where is that? The KSC must be over there somewhere, and we've actually spun. Oh, or is it? Is that not it there? Oh, how interesting. Is that it? I can't tell. There's something there. It's dark and on the horizon under a cloud, which is interesting. Right. Oh, or is that just a seam on the ground? I think that is just a seam of the texture. Right. And we'll pop the parachutes. There we go. Yeah, that's a large seam that we have, and we're coming down in the dark because that's what we do. All right. So let's speed that down. Let's see, how far above the ground was I? I was actually very, very low to the ground. Oh, that's the KSC there. We're just under a very dark cloud right now, and of course you can see the logo of the mission there, Coniston 1, looking good, wonderful. And we're coming down, and this is going to be hopefully a nice soft landing for our crew. Well done, Carl. Through the adversity, you survived that. There we go. Right, now we can recover. And we're going to recover to the space plane hangar. We are back down. We seem to have a bit of a lighting glitch, but we'll fix that in a minute, I think. So we're back down, and we have said that Carl is going to be on leave because he's had a very exciting time. The following retirement changes. Okay, he's not going to retire for another 43 days. How wonderful for Carl. He's going to be on leave until, let's have a look. He's going to be away for. Ooh, he's getting a week off because, you know, that's what we're doing. We got a little bit of supersonic flight data, about 2, that's nice. And we're up to 16.7 science now, which is wonderful. A little bit of science from recovering a vessel from flight. And we're sorted. Right, I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on with this glitch here, as to why it's decided it's going to be very dark all of a sudden. Possibly a cloud, possibly something else, we'll see. And we'll have a look at what's going to go on. I think we may end up doing another Coniston flight first. I was planning on doing a rocket, but of course our rockets take a while to build, so I will be right back. Welcome back. So the Coniston has been refueled and everything, and we're just going to get it finished in its refueling, so it's ready to go. We're also then going to prep it for launch, but we're not going to launch it just yet because the next contract we have for it is this experimental rocket plane's the next one, and it has a cooldown on it, so it's going to be about 110 days, which ironically is the same sort of time until our rocket launch. We also have this X-plane supersonic, and I'm actually very tempted to try this. I think after the next flight, I'm going to have a think about flying this, because this will actually have gone up a lot as well. This funds will have been sort of bumped up because of it not being taken, and it's over the 120 days and everything like that. Now it does say a jet. Oh, no rocket engines allowed. Oh, well, I can't do it then. We need a jet engine. So unless we take our Coniston 1 and stick some jet engines on it, which we could do, we could go and try that. We could just attach them on the back. It is designed for interchangeability. We could try that. So maybe I will think about it, and we could air launch it and see what happens. Anyway, we'll think about that. The funds at the moment for that are not huge, so it might not be worth us putting a jet on. But we're going to have a look at. Let's put another upgrade point in because of the money we've just made. We're now quite tight on the funds, and we're going to put this into R&D again. Let's see how's our R&D going. We've got some time on these things. Solid rockets. Now we could get some nice solid rockets out of the way, couldn't we? Get the upgrades, do a bit of sounding rocket type stuff. But of course that's going to have to wait until this craft has finished building anyway, the Javelin. So let's get that done. And then we will launch the Javelin 1C, and then we'll go for the Coniston after that, I think. Right, so we have gone forward now to 1953, or the end of 1953. So it was at September 1953. And we're launching our 5th rocket. I think it's our 5th rocket. No, it's our 5th Javelin rocket. We've got a couple of those sounding ones before it. So we're going to launch that now from our 20-ton pad, because we don't have any others quite yet. So here we are on the launch pad. We can just have a look at the craft first of all. We've got a nice little decal on there telling me which rocket this actually is. The big change here is inside the fairings, we've got a couple of extra canisters of sounding payload, which takes us over the 75 there, so we're just checking that's completed. And we've got our fins, which are now supersonic fins, so they shouldn't burn off as easily, which, well, that's a hope anyway. What we're actually going to do is, instead of going our normal sort of easterly route, we're actually going to go west. We're going to go inland. Probably not the best idea, you know, flying a rocket over mainland America, but we're going to do it because primarily there's some science over there for the cameras and the biological stuff that I want to start getting at, so we'll do that. So we're going to do that by setting it to surf, and then I'm going to actually be going over 90. So instead of going under and turning this way, it's going to start turning that way. Our target is 120 kilometers. I'd like to get up into space, so over 140 would be good, but let's get this going, I think. So we've got that activated. Start our engine. Engines go. Launch. Off we go. And so we're going to start just pitching over. There we go. Start our little pitch maneuver. I'm not in too much of a hurry to get to sort of stay upright, because we know this rocket will get to 120 pretty easily. We just want to skim it. And we're just going to go up as quickly as possible. We don't need to worry too much now about the heating on the fins low down. I am concerned about the shroud there. That would be potentially a problem. So we're up at a good speed now, going up even more. We're actually not as far over as I would have liked for this sort of level of speed, but we'll see what happens. We're over max Q now, which is good. We're going to basically aim to get it down to... Oh, we have an engine problem. What is the engine problem? Let's get a quick look. We do have an engine problem. Performance loss. So we're not going to be going to... We potentially are not going to space today. That's a problem, isn't it? Let's have a look. We should make 120 with this, I hope. Our burn time says 12 seconds, but we're counting down slowly, so I'd imagine that we've actually got just... It's a thrust problem, I'm guessing. I'm guessing our thrust has been hit, possibly our ISP, I don't know. Right, we are actually going to make it into space, I believe. We'll cut that. Right, we're going to get rid of our fairings. We're going to activate the cameras and everything. There we go. And you can now see up here. Oh, that fairing is attached still. That's though. This is a mission gone horribly wrong, hasn't it? Come on, decouple. Go. This is a calamity of errors, obviously. Right, we're going to decouple this. There we go. And now we're all stuck together. This is going to end badly. I can sense it. Right, we're going to be above the target, I think, yeah. So you can see this is the craft now. We can arm our parachute. And what we've done is taken, these are actually just straight off one of our sounding rocket sort of situations. I think it was stacked up here, actually. And we've got 3 of them. They're not actually tooled. I actually checked. They're not actually tooled because they're a size that we've already got. The diameters is diameter we've already got, and they're actually very basic tank. The savings on tooling we're going to save us about half a day in construction and about 10 funds. So it really didn't make sense to actually tool them, because it was going to cost us, you know, we'd have to have done this mission, I think it was, you know, 50 times to get the tooling cost back. Which we weren't going to do, and it wasn't going to save us time. So there we go. What we got going? Have we got any stuff running? Oh, we are running our telemetry. We are running a pressure scan. That's good. Where are we going to come back down now? Are we considered to be? Let's have a look. No, I don't. I want to do that. I want to do this. So we are currently over the forest. Okay. So because we're over here, we're over the forest. We're not going to land there. We might actually land in the sea to the west, which would be quite interesting. And we are in the space, which is good. So we can just do this up and come down. There we go. That was a nice speedy up bit. Didn't need to do that. And there we go. The ground goes a bit crazy, and there we are. We're coming back down now. So again, we've got a little bit of speed on us there, but we're doing the sciences. We're getting all of the sciences. That's running. So we just got to return this thing home. We've got everything done. This is wonderful. This has been a flight that's gone horribly wrong in a few different ways, but we are successful. So we're actually very lucky that loss of performance actually didn't really impinge us too much. Got to love test flight. Got to love test flight, haven't you? So hopefully this extra mass on here will... Oh, there goes the booster. Goodbye, booster. Hello. Yay, bye-bye. So that's going to go down. So we are slowing down because of this low density camera section, which is actually going to slows down, nice cross sectional area, I think would be the phrase that I'm looking for there. We're just going to come down, and hopefully the parachutes will open at some point when we get near down. We're going in to be over the ocean, which is fine. What's this? Batteries on the probe have gone. Oh, so the probe is, I think the probe has probably hit the ground by now. Or the water. Maybe it survived. That'd be quite interesting. Now, the interesting one would have been if that booster had actually hit us on the way down, which it potentially could have. I mean, it's very unlikely, but these things happen. I think a lot of model rocketeers actually attach all of their rocket together even after they've decoupled the nose. The whole thing comes down and parachutes together. I'm not entirely sure why, probably just because they want to keep the rocket, I would imagine. But right, we're coming on down. Get speed up a bit, I think. Get through the atmosphere as quickly as possible, please. We're at a sensible speed. This is not going to be a problem. As long as the parachutes come out, we're going to be fine. Come on, all the way through. You see we're actually slowing down really, really slow right now. This is actually slower than if we had the aircraft coming in, which is quite staggering. There we go. Chutes are out for partial deployment, and now we're going to go for full deployment any second now. And there we go, full deployment. And then it's just going to take itself down to the water. Now, of course, this is going to bounce, which is, again, the water physics we were talking about earlier. So I was hoping this was going to land on land so that I didn't have to fight away with that. So once this pops down, I will recover it, and then I will see you, and we can see what science we've got, and then we'll wrap the episode up, I think. So I will fast forward to the landing. Well, after fighting a little bit to catch our jumping up and down probe, we have now got it. We've collected it. We've got our science. We've got almost 7 science off all of the stuff that we had there, which is really nice. Not much back. We've got some parts back, which is nice. So we have 24 science now, which, I should probably spend at some point. But next time, I think we're going to do probably another Coniston flight. And we may have to look at one of these altitude ones, possibly. I think just rocking out some of these. What have we got? Altitude sounding rocket, 150 units, 140 kilometers. That gives us a nice bit of money. I wonder if we can actually upgrade our original sounding rocket to achieve that, because that would be something I'd really like to do. Just get those going, get some nice, sounding rocket type missions going. I think that would be good. So from me, until next time, have a great one.